Welcome back to another Tera Plays Tera video. Today's video I'm going to be going over the Tera Consoles 107.01 update. We will be getting this update this month on the 22nd. So if you're watching this video when it's released, personally, in a few days, all of these changes will be added. If you're watching this video in the future, well, here's what's been added. Within that, if you do want to read the patch notes yourself, they will be linked in the description as always. So, let's get into the patch notes. The first thing I want to cover is the brand new Battle Pass Season 9. The season period for this Battle Pass will be June 23rd, the day after the update is released, all the way to October 4th. The main rewards you can get inside of this Battle Pass is the skill book Summon Black Tigress, a style face etching Brilliant Aura Wings 4. For those wondering, this is a permanent etching. It is one of the blue ones, not the green 7-day ones, and a mixed Sigma Crate legendary only. Personally, I think this Sigma Crate is going to be level 100, and it's a nice reward as always. The style face etching, I'm kind of disappointed it's only a T4, but as a whole, I think this is actually nice for any alts. I can see myself actually wanting to earn this and put it on an alt warrior or maybe my Reaper or something. So overall, I think these rewards are pretty standard. Now, let's get into what you'll get if you buy the Battle Pass Plus. As always, you will get the Battle Pass as well as you'll get the instant level 30. Do know you will also get the usual Battle Pass bonus boxes. You'll get 10 of those. You'll get 7 days of Gold Elite. You will get a Bracelet of Absolute Equilibrium as well as a Power Source. Now, I could be wrong. From what I understand, previous Battle Passes did not offer both. So if this is the first one to offer both, I think this is a great move by the devs because it just makes the value of the Battle Pass Plus going up, even though they're not charging us more for it, which I agree with. I think it's time that they've added some better stuff into this. Going off of that, they have actually added 3 other items that I'm super happy to see being added in the Battle Pass Plus, and that is that you'll get 3 7-day Aurora Wings T6 etchings. You will also get 3 dismantleable superior stat changing stones, and you'll get 50 Valkyrie Federation coins. So anyone for their main that could really utilize these etchings. A lot of people still need to work on stigmas. I'm so happy to see that they're being added into something that, this is just an overall healthy change, and I'm glad to see that the Battle Pass Plus is actually becoming more valuable, and they haven't increased the price of it from what I understand. So that's good to see. Now, the devs have made a slight change to the Battle Pass that I'll go over. If you want to read their comments directly, you can. I'm going to summarize it. And that is that in previous seasons, as you get higher leveled in the Battle Pass, it takes more points to earn a level. They are changing this. They want to make everything from 0 to 100 the same amount of points, thus making it the additional level tickets are worth the same no matter what level you are in the Battle Pass, which I agree with this change because I know a lot of people would farm up to level 50 because it was super easy, and then they just start hitting it with +5 tickets because the next 50 levels are a bit trickier. Now that it's all the same value, it really doesn't matter when you use these tickets. The other thing is, maintenance used to give us Battle Pass level tickets. That's being removed, which I also kind of agree with because a lot of players who weren't even using the Battle Pass too much, myself included, we kind of just stocked up on these, so if they ever do release a really good Battle Pass, I don't have to do work. So I think it's actually smart that they have removed this from maintenance reward. The last thing is it seems like they are changing the missions to be more related, which I hope that's true. I hope I'm reading this right, and I hope they've actually considered that, because one thing I've hated about this battle pass is seeing a mission in the battle pass be clear Lilith Keep hard mode and the dungeon wasn't in the game for like a year. Or maybe you'll get the battle pass this season and it'll be clear Grotto hard mode, but they just removed Grotto, so why is it in the battle pass? So I'm hoping, because it would be really wise if they do change this, that it follows with what the current game has to offer. In other words, we have Bahar. Make Bahar part of the battle pass. We do have LK normal and HM, so make them a part of the battle pass. But don't give me something like Dark Ridge Citadel that hasn't been in the game in over a year. So hopefully that, will be fixed. Next, we're going to go over some overall dungeon changes. The first major change is that ectoplasm will be dropping more than before, which I agree with. A lot of people have been struggling to get ecto since the nerf, and I think this should help out. The other change is that Velik Sanctuary Hard and Bahar Sanctum will not be dropping Blacksmith, Rage, or Crystals anymore, which honestly I also agree with, because if you want to level your 457 tunes, any tune that's in Heroic Oath, you might as well be forced to run those dungeons. And I do understand that some endgame players are not fond of this change, but most of us have been around for long enough to know that there was a time that if you wanted Frost Metal gear, you had to run Frost Metal dungeons. If you wanted Heroic Oath gear, you had to run Heroic Oath dungeons. So I'm glad to see if the devs are putting the game back to where, hey, you want to level this character, you have to run these set of dungeons to get the material. I think that's how it should work. I'm happy to see this change. Okay, so next I want to go over some equipment changes. The first thing is that the devs have decided to reduce the cost of Heroic Oath enchantments. As far as if this is gold, materials, they don't really specify, but they're reducing the cost, which should help a lot of new players out. The next thing is enhancement energy will no longer be needed for upgrading your Kaya's accessories. Personally, okay, that's nice, thank you. I don't know if too many people were having issues with this, but alright, I'll take it. This next part I'm going to go over is super important, and supports, I'm really hoping that you're super happy for this. They have finally decided to give back the honor buffs. So, what I mean by this is that when you upgrade your honor weapon, and you might be able to just upgrade any weapon to Kaya's Fury, you get your honor buff back. Now, I don't know if we'll have to honor our weapon to get this. This will be something when the patch actually drops, we can test and see. But basically, Brawlers, you'll get that extra endurance debuff with Jackhammer. Lancers, you will give your teammates more power like you were before. Mystics, you will give 10 power with Totem. And Priest will give 3 attack speed with Shakan. This is exactly what the honor buff was on Fraxum, so now supports, you have a reason to finally upgrade your weapons, and I am so happy the devs have finally decided to make this change. Now, with this change is also a damage and cooldown increase. I believe, from the way the patch notes are making the sound, is actually the damage on everyone's weapon besides Mystic and Priest. I believe the above rolls, your actual weapon rolls that you have on your weapon, I'm not talking about enchant rolls, I'm not talking about the rolls you actually pick, I'm talking about the very top roll. your weapon, instead of being increased damage by 8%, will be increased damage by 12%, and this is for everyone. Mystic and Priest, instead of your cooldown being 8.2, it is actually getting buffed to 10.2% cooldown. So everyone's kind of getting a buff in a way. Now, there is some discrepancy at first when reading the patch notes. Do understand, even though our weapon is getting increased damage roll at the top roll, and yes, our weapon is keeping our +1, 2, and 3. They're not changing that, but they are changing our armor enchants. So what this means is that when you get a Kaya's Fury armor piece, instead of +3, 6, and 9 giving you 11,000 extra HP, you're actually going to get a decreased damage taken from frontal attacks by 1%. Don't worry, you still get your 33,000 extra HP, it's just now the base armor piece has that incorporated in. The other thing is, anyone who already has their gloves and boots to +9, you are going to lose 6% damage because these are also changing to frontal attacks. So even though it looks like we're getting a damage increase, we're actually kind of losing some damage, but it's not by much. And you know, I think this is fair because I think a lot of people are, especially in the endgame community, killing Bahar a little too fast, so I think this slight nerf is kind of needed. And honestly, for anyone who doesn't have their gloves and boots to +9, you technically gain damage, because if your weapon's +9, like I said, you still keep that. They haven't changed that set of rules. It's only your boots and gloves that, I mean, I guess you can argue now, unless you really want the decreased damage taken from frontal attacks, you don't need it, and your weapon is going to, in theory, do more damage that way. So overall, a very interesting choice of change. I'll be curious to see exactly, and of course when this change goes through along with the other changes I'm going to explain in the next portion, I will make a follow-up video going into further detail as I can show it in the game. The next thing I want to go over is gathering and crafting improvements. And I'm going to be honest, the wording of this section kind of confuses me, which is why I said earlier, when we get these changes, I really want to do an update video to really explain what they changed, because there's not a crazy amount of information. But to start off with, there's changes to gathering corn. Now I'm gonna assume they mean copseed, and I'm guessing only copseed is getting affected because it's the most used resource. The amount of copseed when you successful gather is getting increased, so you'll be able to get more corn. But it'll take more production points for you to gather this item. I don't understand why, but I guess because it's used so much. Also, the respawn time of copseed is reduced. So overall what this means is you can gather more corn, but it takes more points, but comes back quicker. I don't understand why copseed is the only one being affected, other than that because the recipes are changing for fish soup, fish steak, pickled fish, fruit wine, and lean star root beers. I'm assuming they want people to start using food buffs more, which I think a lot of people do use. I think it's nice that they are looking into this. It's just they don't really specify how it's changing. So I'm going to go off on an assumption that you're going to need a lot more copseed to make these items. But again, I'll go over that into more detail when, they actually implement the update. So the last part of the patch note is just some general improvements along with a bug fix. To start off with, we have the elite gold benefits are getting approved, And what they mean by this is that they are going to remove the uncommon Noctinium Elixir and change it out with an elite multi-nostrum. Now this multi-nostrum can be used only 5 times a day per account. So basically similar to the Noctinium, if you pop it on a character and 30 minutes goes up, pop it again, you've used your second one, you got 3 more left. You can swap characters, pop it, and now you have 2 left. I assume it's going to work the same way. As far as how long it lasts, we can, I guess, take a guess of maybe 30 minutes. But we won't know until it's actually in the game. We also won't know its exact buffs, but I'm going to go off a limb if it's similar to the fan servers. It's gonna be very close to maybe the Quinlong buff without food. So, and it might have food. It might have like a lamb attached to it as well. Basically this means it'll definitely be our yellow, our Noctinium, and our bravery all inside one. Possibly a lamb. Hard to say until we have it. Ideally, I think the Quinlong buff is still going to be better, so if you don't have a Quinlong, I do suggest trying to get your hands on even just a fake long from Gilliglade. But this is kind of a nice change for people that don't have it, or maybe you don't have it for all your characters, and, you know, it's a nice addition. The next thing they're adding is quest tickets, which will be added in the premium specialty store. You'll be able to get 2 per account. And basically there's different grades that will give you either 100k gold, 150k gold, or 200k gold. That is really all that's listed here, is that you can get 2, clear 2 per account. I don't know if it's a daily thing. They don't say how much they're gonna cost. They just say the rewards are going to be 100, 150, and 200k gold. So I'll be curious to see about that. And of course, as that's implemented in the game, I will do one of them on the update video. The last thing that's getting fixed is apparently there was an issue with the Abyssal accessory set having a bug string effect. That has been resolved. I did not know about that. So maybe y'all knew about it and it was bugging you. I have no clue what that issue was, but it's been resolved. So that's all the changes for these patch notes. I hope you enjoyed. If you got any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments section. If this was helpful to you, please go ahead and hit that like button. And as always, if you keep finding your way back to this channel and you're not subscribed, I greatly appreciate it, as I am trying to hit a goal. And for Tera console, I can say if we hit 500 subs, I will be doing a in-depth warrior tank guide. I know a lot of you have been asking about that, so let's try and push that 500 if possible. That's about it. I hope to see you all in Aboria, gamers. Hope you have a fantastic day or night.